Ssangsoo 2 is a much more complex form than Ssangsoo 1. There are several new slashes that you will be covering in this form, as well as a few different stances. The directions are just forward and backward, but the movement and when you go forward and backward is a lot more dynamic. So, as far as new techniques in this form, you have a combination of a high guard around the head to a number 1 strike. You'll have the same thing going on the left side, so a number 2 strike. For the most part, these number 1s and 2s will be going to the inside of your body, so where your body's open. There will be a time or two where you do cross to the opposite side, so be aware of that. Aside from that, you will have one number 3 strike going upward towards the right shoulder. You will have one number 6 horizontal strike where you are holding with your left hand at the end of the handle. You will have one sparring number 1 strike. So instead of it being all the way out, slicing through, it will be a quick wind up and a chop. As far as stances go, you will have a tailse and a tailse, kind of like Ssangsoo 1. You'll only do those a couple times. For the most of the form, you will be focusing on doing your sodose, your long stance, and your pomse, your tiger stance. When you do your sodose, you want to make sure you're lunging down nice and far. When you're doing pomse, you want to be in a nice wide stance, heels on the same line, weight on your back foot, mostly. Your heel on your front leg is lifted. The only other thing to be aware of in this form, aside from just the complexity of which direction you're going and when, there will be the third to the last move will be a huiton, overhead strike. So if you think about when we do basic techniques and you're stepping forward, overhead, stepping backward, slice. You will be doing this move, but it will be in the air. So it is a wheel huiton. From your tailse, you will lift up this leg, getting the knee nice and high. And then from here you will turn, doing the same motion in huiton, but jumping off of that right foot. 1, 2, and slicing as you land with your right foot. One more time going forward. Lifting up that back leg. 1, 2, strike. There will also be a kneeling that you do. We'll cover that at the very end. It's the very last move of the form. So going in detail, like I said, one of the trickiest parts of this form is just knowing how far you go forward, how far you go back. So pay attention to that. It's easy to get confused because it happens more than you think. So you start off, as always, toya, kanene, haro. From here, you do the same halkum as you do in Ssangsoo 1, stepping forward, tailse, unsheath, slice across, be aware of where your sword is pointing. Overhead guard, pull back to your tailse, chanjong. From here, you will step back, kind of symbolizing somebody's attacking you, you're dodging, high guard, and then you're stepping forward into your sodose, number 1 strike. Boom. You will repeat the same thing, but going backwards. So you turn, pull back, step forward, number 1. You'll do the same thing, but instead of on the right side, you'll do it on the left. So staying in your sodose, lifting, turn, then overhead, and this is where you're going to be outside of the body. Number 2 strike. Repeat the second to last move you just did, turning, lift, 1. You're going to keep on doing this 2 more times. 2, 1 more, 3. You're going to be going for a 4th high guard, but instead of stepping forward, you will step backwards. pomse, and slice. Doing that facing this way just so you can see a little better. So here, 1, 2, 3, wind up, step back, 4. Note when you do this, when you are switching to a different direction, you go into your pomse. When you are going continually forward, and you're already in your solo se, you do not change your stance. You just keep going, okay? So after you do that last one, going to pomse, you're going to transition forward, and you're going to go into a hedose, your front stance, winding up for your number 3 strike, slicing up towards the right shoulder. From here, wind up on the other side, step forward, same thing you just did. 1, 2, only twice though. Now you're going to wind up again, just like you did before, and the exact same thing when you were going backwards. Step back, pomse or slice. From here, you're going to go to overhead guard, push back, child sit, and into kyunjok. Okay. Now, you're going to do your sparring slice. So your sparring number 1. So you're going to shoot your body forward, somewhat explosively, a small chamber, and pop. Now this is where you do the jumping, spinning slash. So tuyo huijeon. You're going to lift that left leg up. 1, 2, land, slice. As is the custom for this form, you will then wind up, high guard, step forward, solo se, slice. Final move of the form, you are going to turn your body. It's almost the same way as you did before, but instead of turning and doing a number 4 strike, you're going to kneel down. And now you're going to wind up, instead going across, attacking the leg. So you lean over, aiming for that knee, and slice. Again, be careful of how far you're pointing out. You don't want it to go out here. It should still be somewhat forward. Overhead guard, push back. And then the chakom, since this is Ssangsoo 2, we do chakom 2. Point, left hand on the scabbard, reverse circle, kolmeki next to the opening of the scabbard, out, in.